Hey everybody, Soundwave Productions here, and before I get on with the video, I would like to apologize for the Megatron video being delayed. As I was going to film the Megatron video, I decided to look in my closet and see if there were any collectibles that I should review in the future, and I found one. And this collectible was just too good that I couldn't pass up to do a review on it. So today we're going to be taking a look at the Star Wars Vintage Collection Slave One. Yeah. So this is a Star Wars collectible that I've been looking for years because I was never able to find it until now. So, hold on, there's something in here. It shouldn't be in there. There we go. Something that shouldn't be in there yet. Okay, so before we get on with the review, let's take a closer look at the details. So you got a nice weathered effect on the front of the ship. There. Love the weathering effect all throughout the ship. And the bottom portion of the ship on mine was chipped. I don't know what happened there. It didn't come like that, so it must have gotten chipped when I was flying it around, because I've had this thing for years. Nice weathering effects all around. So why don't we crack the Slave One open and take a look at the interior. The cockpit just comes off. Well, on mine it comes off. If you were to get this brand new, the cockpit would hinge open, but the hinge on mine snapped. So it just comes right off, which I think is better. So it allows you to get better access to the cockpit. Nice cockpit there. Nice detailing in there for the cockpit. Nice detailing for the control panel there. So, and this thing did come with one figure, but it's not, I don't know if you would call it a figure. I would mainly call it an accessory because it's not really an action figure. It came with Han Solo in carbonite. And this is a very nicely done Han Solo in carbonite. Very faithful to the Han Solo in carbonite that we see in Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, and one major gripe that I have with this thing is that you're supposed to put it in here. And now in Empire Strikes Back, it would go in here. It would go in there. Hasbro, what's going on? Anyway, let's get him out of there. But that is where you can store Han Solo in carbonite. And now as we move to the side, we can open this whole thing up, and that exposes some more interior. It's just a cargo hold where you can take there are various pegs where you can take your figures, just situate them in there. And this thing just closes and it just pegs into place there. Let me just I'm just going to put Captain Rex in the cockpit so we can show off one feature. So we can show off one of the features later. Okay. Come on. There we go. There we go. So now, the final piece of interior is at the back. So what you do is you just pull this section out, and this whole section drops down. And you have a little compartment where you can store like random things in here. I'm just going to store a crate in here. You just put in there. And then just close all this up. And these cannons do move, and they would shoot missiles, but unfortunately I don't have any missiles for it. So now let's get to the main feature of the Slave One. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put Han Solo where he's supposed to go, and then just close up the Slave One. There we go. Now, one of the main features of the Slave One And one reason why I think a lot of Star Wars fans will buy the Slave One is that it is able to do this. Okay, so you're just gonna wanna. Now, what I like to do is I just like to grab it from behind, grab the Slave One from. There we go, and then the wings will just move up and click into place. And I think that is really cool that it does that. And we can see Captain Rex in there moving as the seat rotates. Now, one feature with the Slave One is when these wings are moved down, the seat will lock in place. But when the wings are folded up, the seats can move freely. And I think that's really cool that the seat can move independently when the wings are in the flight position. And one last feature before I end the video is that Boba Fett's... I don't think the Slave One ever did this when it was in the possession of Boba Fett, but one thing it can do, which was seen in the prequels when Jango Fett owned the ship, is that it can drop the seismic charges. So that's just... Okay, so let's just take a closer look at the seismic charges, and these are nice. Yeah. And they just clip on that, they just clip into the underside of the ship. So that was the Vintage Collection Slave One, and unfortunately, so there were two major faults with this thing. So one is the placement for Han Solo in carbonite, and the other is that on the box it said it came with a stand, but unfortunately mine didn't come with the stand. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe it was just a mistake with my copy. But that was the Vintage Collection Slave One, and I will see you in the next video where I cover LEGO Transformers G1 Megatron.